welcome back to Darvanalee Design Studio. For those that don't know, my name's Nicole Reed and today we're at lesson 2 in our macrame series. So in today's lesson you're going to be learning how to do the square knot, the half square knot and the overhand knot. I'm also going to show you how to make a loop at the top of your macrame pot holder so you don't need to have any additional hardware or anything like that. I'm also going to show you how to insert your cords into your beads and how to secure them in place. We're going to be making this gorgeous pot plant holder, so let's get started. Okay, so today we're making a plant hanger, and basically what you're going to need is you're going to need 8 strands of macrame cotton at 5 meters each or 5.5 yards. You're also going to need a 30 centimeter piece of rope to finish off your pot hanger. You're going to need a bulldog clip, and that's just to hold our pot hanger in place so we can sit down and do this and we won't have to stand up. You're also going to need some sharp scissors, and this is something that a lot of people probably don't use, and as you can see here I've got these large wonder clips. I use these just to keep when I'm working on 4 strands, I keep the other ones out of the way and together, so they always come in handy. I've got these listed down below where you can get these from as well. Now you're also going to need some beads, and I've just got some natural beads today. And you want to make sure that you can actually get your macrame cord through this, and you want to be able to put 2 of your cords through. So you can see there that that goes in quite well. Okay, so you'll need about 20 of those. And of course you're going to need a pot plant. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to cut all of your macrame cord, and as you can see I've already cut this and I've found the center. And what we're going to do, instead of actually just attaching this to a ring, we're just going to make it a little bit more decorative, that top part, and we're actually going to use our cords to make our top ring. What you want to do, as you can see here, I have found the center of it, and we're just going to be working with our square knots. And if you haven't done a square knot, or you want to see how the square knot is done, I suggest that you click the card up in the corner here and go back to our number 1 video, and that is just all doing the square knot. We are going to get all our ropes. We've found the center of them. As I said, I did that a little bit earlier off camera, and to do that all you do is get all your raw ends, bring them together and then find your center. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lay our remaining cord that's off to the left up in front of us, away from us, and we're going to lay all our cord down flat. And then all I'm going to do is actually just sit my pot plant on it, or just something that's got a little bit of weight just away from me a bit, and then I'm just going to grab these 2 outside ones and separate them from the rest of them. So you can see here that I've separated them, the 2 side ones, and I've got the rest of my remaining in here. Now these 8 cords will eventually be folded in half and they'll become 16. So at the moment we're just going to work with the 8 as they are. Get them to sit nice and flat as you can. It's not imperative, but just as flat as you can. And then we're going to do a square knot, and starting from the left hand side we're going to take our left hand one and we're going to place that over the top of all the middle strands, and then we're going to get our right hand piece and we're going to come down and make like a letter 4, and then we're going to lift our center pieces and we're going to take our right hand one up and underneath, and then we're going to pull it through that loop. Now as I said, if you aren't sure how to do a square knot, it's super easy, and if you want a really good close-up look of that, as I said, hit that card up in the corner and that will take you to our last video and you'll be able to see how the square knots are done. So that's our first part. So we've only done half the square knot now, and we're going to take that up to where our wonder clip is sitting, and we're just going to give that a little bit of a tug. Not too much of a tug because you don't want your other strands to come down. Then we're going to do the right hand side, exactly the same thing except this time opposite. So we're going to make a backwards 4 this time, and then we're going to take this left hand one underneath and bring it out through that loop. And then we're going to just put a little bit of pressure on our center strands, and I just use if I'm standing up, and I just use my leg, or I just lean against it if I'm sitting down. Okay, so that is 1 knot. You can see there that that is quite flat. So now we're going to continue that on. so now what you're going to do is you're going to take all these threads, separate them, so you've got this part of your hanger now, so this is in the center, and what you're going to do is you're going to bring this around to make a loops just like this. So now what we've done, now that we've got our anchor point here, so we've used a little bit of scrap cording with a bulldog clip, and I've just attached that to the edge of my cutting mat. Alrighty, so what we're going to do now that we've got that on our anchor point, as you can see, we're creating a loop, and this is what we're going to hang our hanger from onto a hook. Now we need to join this together. So we've got all these 8 strands have now become 16, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to put one of my clamps over just to hold it in place for a second, and then I'm going to find the 2 outside ones, and I'm going to do 5 square knots. So this is the first half of the square knot, so we're just taking the left and then putting the right over the top of the left tail, and we're just doing exactly what we just done then, but we're only doing 5 of them this time. Okay, trying to keep them as flat as possible, and then once that is coming up there, you'll be able to remove that peg or wonder clip that you've got. So just securing that, and you can see there that that's just secured that quite nicely. And now what we're going to do is bring the right hand over and take the left hand cord over that tail, over the top of that tail, and then take it under all the middle and come out through that loop. And that is 1 square knot. You can see there that that's created a nice loop for us. So that's a good size loop. And now we're going to repeat that another 4 times because we've just done 1 and we want 5 square knots in total. Okay, so that is 5. So you can see there we've got a nice secure anchor point for when we want to hang our pot plant up. Worked with our square knots now, and now we're on to our next knot that we're going to learn. So this is actually a half square knot. What you're going to do now is you're going to separate your strands into 4. So get the 4 closest together. So this one here, you can see there's a top one, and those are nice and close. So separate those, and I just put a clip on those, and then I find the next 4. What I've done is I've done 10 up here, and then I've done 5 here, and now I'm going to do 10 half square knots. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do the half square knot. So all you're doing is taking your 2 side ones again, centerpiece ones, and you're just going to put a little bit of pressure on those, and all you're going to be doing is working from the left hand side, and you're going to do a half square knot. With the square knot, we do what we do to one side, we do to the other. With a half square knot, we just do it to one side, and what will happen is it'll start to get a twist. So starting from the left hand side, what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our side ones, and we're going to create that letter 4 again, taking our right hand one and placing that over the top and going through the center like we have with the full square ones. But this time we're only going to do it from one side. Okay, putting a bit of pressure on your center ones. All right, again, we're just creating the letter 4 each time. We've got our first little twist. You can see there that it's starting to get that nice little twist. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat that the other 3 groups of 4. So continue doing that and do 10 on each one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a little bead on there. So you'll need 4 beads, and then you're going to take the 2 center one on one arm. You're going to take the 2 center strands, and you're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to put them through into our little bead that we've got here. It's going to be a little bit snug, so I find that using a crochet hook is really easy to do. So you just pop the 1 strand onto the crochet hook and fold it over. So you can see here I just go straight over and I pull it slightly tight on the crochet hook, and then I just pull that through, being careful not to split my rope. And then I just grab the other one and do exactly the same thing and just pull that through. And there you can see that it's on there. So then I'm just going to put that all the way up to the center, just like so. And I'm going to repeat that for all 4 arms. So you can see there that that's sitting in there quite nicely. And now what we're going to do is we're going to secure that with a full square knot. Making our number 4, then we're going to take our right hand one over the tail of the left hand one and through that loop. And then you're just going to bring that up so it's nice and secure. Okay, so that's the first half, and now we'll do the second part to create our full square knot. Okay, and there we go, our bead is now secured in place. So just push that up a little bit so you make sure that it is actually nice and secure, and you're going to do that for the rest of your arms. So you can see there that that's not going to move around or anything like that. It's nice and secure. Next we're going to do half square knots again. You're going to do exactly what we've done here. Starting on the left hand side, we're going to create a 4. And you're going to keep doing that to each one of your arms of your pot holder. So we've got 20 there. We're going to add another bead now. And as I said, you're going to do exactly the same thing to each one of your arms. Again, you're going to get your center ones. You're going to grab your crochet hook, and then you're going to grab the ends of your center ones. And just like you did last time, you're going to pull that cord through and then slide that up. Taking your 2 side ones and doing a full square knot. Okay, so we've joined our bead onto there, and what we're going to do now is we're going to do an 30 of the half square knots, and then we'll add another bead. Exactly what you've done here and here, except this time we're going to do 30. Okay, so now that we've done 30 there, what I want you to do is I want you to take your 2 side ones, and you can see that they're getting considerably shorter now, and we've still got this long center one. So what I want you to do, and this is just a little trick that I learned along the way when my cords get too short and I don't want to waste too much, basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to take those 2 center ones and bring them underneath those side ones. So now what will happen is the really long ones will become my sides, because I'm adding a bead on now. These little ones that have got a lot shorter, because we've used them for all our knots up here, we can feed them through the bead, and then we'll be able to continue on from there. So again, you just put your crochet hook through your bead, grab that and pull it through, and then slide it up to the center. And you're pushing that hard up against your spiral that you've just done then, and your 2 longer ones are now going to become your side ones. So we can bring them around, and we'll just anchor those short center ones off, and then we can do our square knot. And you can see there that you can't really see the difference. It's just a little trick that I learned many years ago, that when my cords were getting a little bit short, especially when you're working with the thicker cords, they tend to shorten up a little bit quicker. I can do this, and then I've got longer outside ones again to work with. Alrighty, so we're just going to finish off our square knot. And that's secured our bead in place. Alrighty, so now we're going to repeat the exact same thing to our other 3 arms. So you're going to, from this point here, you're going to do, you've got your 10, you've got a bead, then you'll have 20, you'll add a bead, then you'll do 30, and remembering to bring those center ones, because your side ones will start to be getting shorter, you're going to take the center ones to the outside, and you're going to feed your shorter ones through the bead on this one. Okay, so you can see there that I've done all 4 arms. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue on. We've got our 4 beads on there. We're going to do another 20 half square knots to create the twist, and then we'll add our final bead, and then we'll be on to the construction of the basket. Alrighty, so now you're going to repeat that with the remainder of your arms, and then we'll do the basket. Okay, so now what we're going to do is some overhand knots. To do this, it's if you're doing up a shoelace, you go over and under from the left, and then over and under from the right, and you bring them up until you have 10 overhand knots. Now each arm needs to be split in 2, as you can see here, and each of those arms need to have 10 overhand knots. Continue doing that until you have done all of them, and then we will be on to assembly of the basket. Okay, so now that you've done each arm, you've got your 4 arms, and you've done your crossover knots down here. You've done 10 in total on each one, and each arm now has 2 strands. So what we're going to do, you've got to, at this point you want to actually hang it up. We've done everything laying down on the table up until this point. So now you want to hang it up. And you can see here that I've got a couple of the arms at the back and a couple of the arms at the front. And that's really important for when you're going to put stuff in the pot into the basket, because that's what we're going to create right now. So I'm just going to open that up and make sure that they're not crossing over up in the middle part, up in the center. Okay, and you'll be able to see if it's doing that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take one from the back and one from the front. And I'm actually going to take the 2 center ones. So you've got 4 strands there. So there's one to the right and there's one to the left of your crossover knots. And I'm going to now create 5 square knots. So taking my 2 center pieces, and I'm just going to do the number 4 starting on the left hand side, just like we've been doing all the other times. And we're going to create our square knot. Just put a little bit of pressure on that center, the center ropes, and you'll be right. And then on to the right, and then up through the loop. And then you've created 1 square knot there. So you can see there that the basket's coming together now. So I'm going to continue doing my square knots there, and we want 5 in total. Alright, so we're on to our last square knot, and that makes 5. So if that's moving around on you while you're doing all your knots and all the rest of it, you can actually just get some pins and you can just pin these out of the way. I'm going to use my cute little mushroom pins today. And they're quite long, so they can move it all out of the way. So you can see that that's just going to hold them out of the way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the pins out of this one and pin this one out of the way. And now I'm going to work with the next arm that is next to this one. So again, I'm going to bring these two in together and then again do 5 square knots. And I'm just going to continue around to create the basket. Got all of our basket except for these last 2 outer ones. To do now is we just need to bring them around to each other, and you can twist your pot holder around and then you'll have your pieces come together like that. Again, you want to find your center ones and make the center ones the short ones, and then do your 5 square knots, and then we'll be up to gathering it up and we'll be finished. Okay, so when you want to work out where you're going to gather your end of your pot holder, you need to grab your pot plant that you're going to use, and in my case I've just got an artificial one, and you're going to put your tape measure just on the edge, and then you're going to roll it down and go into the center. So I've got to come down about 16.5 centimeters, which is about 6.5 inches. Okay, so I've done all my 5 knots, and now I'm going to create the bottom end of the basket. So I measured my pot and it's 6.5 inches or about 16 centimeters. And just from where the bottom of the square knots finish, I'm just going to place my tape measure and I'm going to come down and I'm just going to pinch it just there. So I know that that's going to make the bottom end of my basket. Then what I'm going to do is just grab this piece of, at the beginning of the video I said that you'll need a piece of rope to do the last bit of it. It's about 30 centimeters, which is good. You're just going to get a tail of it and you're just going to place that at the back, and then you're going to create a loop. So you've got your bundle that you're going to be bundling up, and then you've got this loop, and then you're going to take your long tail and you're going to wrap it around about 4 times would be good. Alright, so we've got our tail, and now what we're going to do is just bring that through, and then we're going to pull this top one, and you can see there that that loop is getting smaller. And as they've come in a bit closer, I can pull both of them at the same time, just holding that there with the bottom bits, and give that a bit of a tug. And that's now secured in place. And that's all at the back, and so I can now just trim that excess bit off at the top, and then that's it, it's done. And now I can add my pot plant into there. So there you go, it's all in there, nice and secure. So now what I'm going to do, now that my pot's in there, I can hang that up anywhere I want to. I'll fiddle around a little bit with the foliage on this, but I've got all these dangly tails at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim them off even as possible, just like that, and then I will separate those strands with the comb, and then I'll just have a little fluffy tail down the bottom. Okay, so we just comb that out, and you can see there we've got a nice little fluffy bit at the bottom. There we go, one macrame pot plant hanger. For joining me today. I really do hope that you enjoyed making your pot plant holder, and that you got the hang of the half square knot and the overhand knot as well. If you like this video today, give us a thumbs up down below, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it, and that way you won't miss out on any future posts. And for those that don't know, my name's Nicole Reid for Darvanalee Design Studio, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye for now.